So now what I will do, I am taking an existing application. Let's see what all we do in OneStream basically. Okay. So primarily OneStream drives through the workflow here. Under the one place tab, we have a different options, right? So we have a three tabs. Remember that introduction session we discussed about one place, application, system tab. One place tab is the user tab where users will carry out their activities. And then application tab is the developer tab or a consultant tab where all the components will be built it here, right? All the dimensions, all the reports, everything we will build in under the application tab. And system tab is the tab that where administrator maintains the users, their security, their log details and everything. Okay, so these are the three tabs that we have. Always whenever I am performing in any activity as a user, I'll have to use the one place tab only. Okay, as a user we always use one place tab. User will not have access to system and then application tabs. We will restrict it because they are not supposed to create any components. They're not supposed to maintain any security logs and other stuff, right? So we will restrict it to have only to one place tab. So in that case, so in the one place tab also we have a different sections again, subsections again. We have a workflow section, we have a cube view section, we have a dashboards, and we have a documents. Okay, so workflows are nothing but anything, any activities that are going to carried out by the users on a monthly basis, on a periodic basis. We will form that as a workflow, we will create it as a workflow and provide access to the user. Okay, workflow is actually a kind of a day-to-day activities that we are going to perform. So in, if you know Hyperion, so we have a task list in Hyperion, right? The task list is a list of a sequential tasks that user has to perform it. So here in OneStream, we call that as the workflow. Okay. So in a OneStream, everything will be driven by the workflow only. Everything, including access, including dimensions display, including reports display, everything will be driven by the workflow itself. So let's say I am the consolidation user. I am the controllership user. Okay. I need to perform the controllership activities or consolidation activities. So I need to click on this workflow green arrow mark here and then come and choose my cube first. Okay, if I have a different cubes, let's say on the day one we told theoretically, so people can maintain different cubes for reporting purposes. Consolidation separate cube, planning separate cube, something like that we can maintain a different cubes. Let's say I want to perform the consolidation activities. So I'll choose my cube name as the console cube or a financial cube. So both are same basically. So I'll choose it here. And there will be hundreds of workflows. So workflow in the sense, basically by country wise, a list of activities will be created. So in any company, so they'll have a list of activities that need to be performed by every country user, right? So let's take an example of a TCS. TCS will have every country operations, and each country user will perform certain activities. So that activities will be under the workflow. We will create it and provide a user to the access. So if I have a multiple workflows, let's say if I go to console cube, I have hundreds of workflows or tens of workflows here. So we have India operations, we have Australia, Japan, Indonesia, and user whoever belongs to, since I am the administrator right now, I can see all of them basically. But that is not the case with the real-time users. So when the real-time user logs in, they should be able to see only their corresponding workflows. They're not supposed to see the other workflows. Okay, we will filter that. So you will see that how to configure the security in the security topic. But since we are at the beginning stage, I'll leave that aside, the security configuration. So we'll go ahead with a normal approach. When we get into security, we will see how to restrict the users, how to see only the corresponding workflows for them. Okay, so workflow, the term itself, we can see the work activities that you are going to perform on every month wise is called a workflow. Okay, so I'll choose my cube name and the type of activities we are doing it. So is it a actual reporting, is it a budget reporting, or is it a forecast reporting, some other reporting. So based on that you need to choose it. Let's say if I'm doing actual reporting, I'll have to choose actuals, and then the year. So which year activities you are performing. So based on the financial year, obviously you will always choose the current financial year. Okay, but right now we are selecting just for the dummy. This is a dummy application, right? Wherever you want you can load it, nobody will stop you. But generally in a live environment, all the historical years will be locked. Okay, so you cannot enter into the historical years and historical periods also. We will try to lock it. Okay, so now I'm choosing these three. So once you choose these three, you will get a complete year with all the 12 periods, because you already have a time dimension structure defined with the 12 dimension, uh, 12 period members. So that will automatically displace it here. Okay, so once you see all the periods, let's say my current month is January, suppose, I'll go here. Or my current month is April, I'll go here. So there will be a list of activities you would have already created. Who creates this? During a design phase, a developer or consultant would have been created it. Okay, as a user, I don't want to worry about who created, when it has been created. I need to only take care about like what all activities are there to perform, and what are the action items that I need to do in this workflows. Okay, assume that I am the financial user, okay, in the country India. I need to perform the imports from the ERP side. I'll go here and click on it. There are different, like this is your similar to FDMWE page in Hyperion. Okay, this is your similar to FDMWE. We have a inbuilt data integration options in OneStream. We don't have to use any third party tools or any other tools. Like in Hyperion, generally we use FDMWE or ODI, Oracle Data Integrator, some other tools. Generally we use it to perform the data loads. But here we have an inbuilt data integrator options itself. So similar to FDMW, we have this page. So I'll go here to import and click on this. Or if you have any existing data, let's say I want to replace this data. Okay, so users, ERP users confirmed, hey, there are some changes to the data. So you obviously, since we are the downstream systems for ERP, right? So we will have to re-import that trial balance data that we have already imported. So I can even clear it. There's a clear button. So once you clear that, let it be clear. Yeah, data has been cleared now. Oh, then what we can do, we can freshly import it. Okay, so once you click on import tab, you will have a load and transform here. Click on the load button, something. And remember, going further in the sessions, we will build all these components. Okay, so instead of directly going and then start discussing about how to build it in a rushing manner, so I thought let's today give it some kind of in and out structure, like what are we going to perform, what are basically we will do it in one stream, so that you will also feel comfortable when we go into a real components to build it. Okay, so that is where I'm going to do that. So there are a lot of dependent components. Just to import, you cannot work on it. So like OneStream are not providing ready-made settings to import the data directly from your ERP system. There are a lot of configurations you need to do in the backend, but that's all one-time settings. Since in this application the setups are already exist, I'm not going into the discussion. Okay, but here you can see data source name. Where is your data coming from, and what format is the data coming from? So all these will be discussed in the later on sessions. Okay, but for now, all about is data import. I'll just click on that import button. It fetches the data. I got my data here. So this is the import page. So we imported the raw trial balance, raw data. When I say raw data, source data we call it as. Assume that my source is SAP. So I import my SAP balances here now. Okay, or assume that my SAP, my source is Oracle. So I imported my Oracle balances here. Okay, I can even export it. So let's say all the data I want to export into an Excel, I can export it into a CSV file. Okay, for some reason, let's say I mean, sometimes what will happen, there are hundreds of pages of the data will come. Here it will automatically forms the pages, like page 1 of 10, 1 of 20, 1 of 30, like that. So if I export like this in the header manner, only a single page will get exported. Only a single page will get exported. If I have a 30s or 50s of pages, I need to end up exporting multiple times. That will be a painful task. What I can do rather, I can use this button, view last source process file. Okay, and that will give us an export of the entire application data. I mean entire period data. Okay, so this one is the last source file that has been processed. There is a small icon here. Okay, and then now I imported the trial balance data. This is coming from the ERP system directly into OneStream, because all about we care about the data, because ours is a reporting tool. Without data you cannot do anything in OneStream, right? So now I brought the data into OneStream tool. So now what I need to do, OneStream is a reporting tool. Sometimes what will happen is you will summarize the transactions. I'll tell you what is called summarize the transactions. Okay, Oracle or EBS or SAP, let's say we have Oracle EBS or SAP, PSGL, these are all the normal general ledger tools, GL tools, right? So trial balance data will be maintaining this. So I'll always maintain the transactional data in these tools. Okay, transactional data will be very detailed level. Ignore spelling issues. So transactional data will be very detailed level. Okay, when I say detailed level, I'll put an example called the travel expenses. Okay, so when I say travel expenses, what all expenses will incur during the travel? You will have a flight charges. Okay, flight tickets, accommodation, hotel, cab charges, obviously from the hotel to airport or airport to hotel. So you will travel from here and there, right? So basically, so all these, like example I'm just taking, only 3 or 4, right? So these three will be at a transactional level. I mean, not only three, there will be a tens or twenties of accounts will be there. But when it comes to OneStream, you don't care about like what is ticket amount, what is hotel amount, what is cab amount. We always care about the total expenses. We always maintain the summary level reportings as much as possible. Okay, we will not have a detailed level of accounting, rather we will maintain the summary level. We will have only one account called a travel, and all these, let's say assume that this is my account called 111, and this is my account called 222, this is account called 333. So from here, assume that my account, travel account, is 10000. So all you need to map it like this, 111, all you need to map like this. When you are loading the data, you need to map it. See, at Oracle level, summary level, detailed level transactions, we are maintaining it. And in the OneStream side, we are maintaining the summary level details. Okay, we are not loading as it is into OneStream. Keep that in mind. Always data will be refreshed and summarized, restructured, then only we will be loading it. Okay, so now I need to take care of those mappings basically. So I need to take care of those mappings. So that is the reason I'll go to the validation tab. So validation tab will transform your data from your uh, source format into OneStream format. What is the source format? This one. What is the OneStream format? This one. Okay. So that is the option that we will do it. When you click on this validate button, all your records will get converted now. All your records will get converted. I think most of them we are maintaining one-on-one mapping. In this case here it is a one-on-one mapping, but generally, so this is not a one-on-one mapping. So multiple sources are mapping into one target. So call it as multi sources into one target. Okay, so I can verify the mappings also. Let's say I want to see what mappings have been using to convert this entry. Assume that this is my entry, 15 million something is coming up, or 1.5 million is coming up. I want to verify. User complaint, hey, my account is having wrong balance. How do we verify it? So we can just right click and go into the drill down. It shows. So this is my top row is your converted record. The source, the bottom row is your source record. You can see drill down intersections is your converted record, and source intersection at the below is your original record that has been imported from your ERP systems. And I can even right click on the source records and see view transformation rules. Transformation means transforming the data from source format into OneStream format. In Hyperion, we call it as a mappings, but in OneStream, we call it as a transformation rules. But technically, meaning is same. Okay. I can click on this and get to know each dimension wise mappings here with what dimension mappings I'm using to convert this entry. Forget about what type of mappings, that will be a different topic again. But what I am trying to say all about is I can get to know what type of mappings is being used to convert each record. So that will also be displayed here. Okay, so that is very helpful to fix any kind of a mapping issues. Let's say we have wrongly mapped one account. Suppose let's say 444, it should go to a 2200 account, but we mapped wrongly by mistake to 111. So this balance, let's say here we have some balances on 444 from the ERP side that will go, that's supposed to go into 2000, but it is going wrongly into 1000 account. So obviously your balances will not tie, your balances will off. So you can easily find out, okay, where I am mapping this account, is it going into a right mappings or wrong mappings. So that we will get to know by right clicking on the source amounts, by looking at the transformation rules for individual record level. Okay, so that we will take care of it here. So once my data load, once my data conversion is done, okay, and you can see here the first tab will shows source intersections, the header. Source intersections are nothing but a dimension combination. Okay, anything in a reporting tools will get stored in a dimension intersection only. That is the reason I explained that theoretically what is dimension, how the data gets stored in OneStream or Hyperion, right? So data always gets stored in the combination of the data. That combination we call technically intersections. Okay, so once we go to the validation tab, the header is displayed target intersections, not a source intersections. So this is the data that we are going to load into OneStream format. Okay, so now click on process tab, or sometimes we can also name it as a load tab. It's all like depends on our own naming convention. Okay, which one we wanted to name it. So in the process tab, we have a load cube. So now we are actually loading the data into OneStream. So till now, we are maintaining the data in the staging area. So import and validate, we call it as a staging area in OneStream. Staging means temporary area. Okay. So we have not yet loaded the data into OneStream so far. So that will be taken place at the process tab. There is an option called load cube. So once you load the data, then the numbers are going into OneStream now. Okay. So now load cube is success. You can see green mark is coming up. So after loading the data, obviously data always will be loaded for the base members. When I say base member, what does it mean by base member? So take an example, forget about dimensionality. Take an example, sales. So let's say I have a sales manager, okay, and sales executives will be there. Who does the business actually? Will the sales manager does it, or will the sales executives perform the sales? Always sales executives will do the business. But at the end, when we are counting the entire sales of the particular month, hey, I got 1 lakh sales from a particular so and so manager, right? So that means that actual sales will be done by the executives, but at the end you have to aggregate that sales to the manager level and says, hey, this manager given this much business, right? So we call this as a base member. So even the data also will be applicable the same way. So remember, when we are talking about dimensions, we will have an entity total, we will have a APAC, we will have a country specific India, and then India we have a business operations in Bangalore, Chennai. You can have a multiple. So if I assume this is my entity dimension structure, so base member is nothing but the member which does not have any further childrens under that. So entity total is a base member? No, because it has a children. So APAC is a base member? No, it has a children. India is a base member? No, it has two children. But Bangalore has a children? No, it is a base member. It does not have. This is not a children of a Bangalore. This is a sibling of a Bangalore. Okay. So likewise, so this is the place where the data enters technically. So here we will enter the data. So I came sales of a 1000 from Bangalore, 2000 from Chennai entity. But at the end, you will have to aggregate the data towards the entity parents, right? So that is where we will always use this process cube option to consolidate your numbers after loading the data at a base level. Okay. So if I click on this, system will run the consolidations, aggregations, everything. So now my data has been aggregated or consolidated, and this data has been loaded. You see target intersections loaded. Okay. Yeah, I'll give some time, wait for a few minutes. Okay. So now after loading the data, what I should do, I need to perform some validation checks on the data. So what is the guarantee that the data has been accurate, right? So we are getting the data from the ERP side. Who knows whether the data is accurate data? All we care about is at the end, after loading the trial balance data into OneStream, your balance sheet should tie. Simple. That is a primary check for us. If the balance sheet does not tie, you cannot treat that as a accurate data. So there should be somewhere we need to perform those checks basically, right? So what I will do is I'll go to the confirm step. So I have already configured some validation checks here. I'll go and execute them. So these are all the validation checks that I have. See, all we need to create it, remember, system will not give us automatically. But there are options to create, so that's where we are exploring it now as an end user. So the activity that I'm showing you as an end user now. Okay. So all I care about is, okay, so during the initial application setup, so administrators have created some checks there. So that checks is based on the business requirement only. So we will execute them as part of every monthly execution. So I'm executing them. So let's say there must be a check called asset must be greater than zero. So obviously, when you have an asset value must be zero, must be greater than zero. If it is less than zero, your business is in losses completely. When you are in complete losses, what you will do in the business transactions? So that is where there must be some check that has to given to us, right? So that is where this data is pulling out. So I mean, somebody has been changed. Actually, this application is being used by many users. So, but we will talk about it later. Why this amount is only zero? I think the setups have been changed by somebody else. Let me revert it back. So don't go into the details now. I'll quickly change that. So I'll transform it. But still we are getting okay. So means that there is a logic behind. So that logic also got corrupted. We'll see that. But generally, here we will get the entire amount of the assets and we can verify whether the amount is greater than zero or less than zero. And if it is less than zero by any chance, okay, here in this case, actually condition is failed. You see here, So asset condition is actually failed because it's zero. But however, why we are getting a green tick? Because it is a dummy data. Okay, so when we go into a real data, then we will verify it, we will fail it. So user should not move further until unless we rectify this issue. Okay, so let's say my balance sheet also, let's say balance sheet should tie, right? Asset must be equals to liabilities and equity, and for some reason my assets are not matching with liability and equity, then you're not supposed to go into the next stage. Okay, so likewise there are certain checks we will perform on the data, so that gives us accuracy, data accuracy. Okay, so after doing that, since it is a dummy data and I don't have a real numbers here, so that's where I just made it as an optional. Since the checks are optional category, so I can move ahead. If it is a mandatory category, suppose, and this entire checks which are failed here will be turned as a red color, and the entire confirmation step also will be turned as a red color, and you cannot move further. Okay, I can just change it one of the condition to red color. Now let me change this. So here it is a warning pass. If I make this as a error pass, suppose, okay, you will learn all these setups later. Okay, forget about it what I am changing now. So rerun this confirmation. You see now it is failed unless you fix the error. So you cannot. What causes for that error? Maybe you uh, I mean there could be some mapping errors which is causing your negative balance. There could be some, there could be some signage issues. Generally while loading the data itself, you'll have a in a ERP side, every liability account and every revenue accounts will have a negative operator. Okay, in before the data, generally if it is, let's say this is my liability account. Okay, let's say share capital. Assume that this is my share capital in the ERP side. You will have a negative operator like this. Okay, every liability account in a ERP side will have a negative operators, but we are not supposed to load with operator. We will have to load only with a value just like this. And because how the system assumes this is a negative number, based on the account type that we define in internally in OneStream, it will assume automatically as a negative number. Okay, so always remember, any reporting tools will follow the positive reporting structure, even though the number is negative, but we always do the positive reporting structure. Okay, share capital is actually a liability, but in a Oracle side or in a SAP side, you will have a minus 1000 something like that. But whereas in OneStream or Hyperion, we will just shows as 1000. But what classifies this as a negative? The type, there is an account type option is there. Okay, we will see that later in the account configuration. So there is account type called a liability. So we will assign this type to this share capital account. So that tells us, okay, this is my negative number. So instead of doing that, suppose we miss to drop that signage. There's an option called, while converting the data here, while converting the data, let's say as a transformation rules, we have an option called a flip sign here. You see the column called flip sign. So for those liability accounts, you need to enable this flip sign button. Assume that we missed that. Obviously users only will do that. Sometimes when we have a manual intervention, there will be a scope for the errors also. Assume that we forgot to enable a flip sign option for the share capital account. So instead of loading this as 1000, what will happen? It will load as a negative value. And if you load as a negative 1000, and you would have already assigned as a liability account for this, type of the account is liability, so it will assume minus of a minus. It will assume minus of a minus. Okay, the nature of the account will automatically assume as a negative, and then you are adding one more negative there, so minus of a minus will be positively aggregated instead of aggregating negatively. So that account internally should consider as a negative balance and aggregate as a negative based on the account type. But since you are not dropping the sign, so another minus is getting added here, that will cause to the different value. So here instead of 3000 as a negative total liabilities here. Okay, So instead of a 3000, what will happen? It will shows as a 1000, because this 2000 will go here. I'll show you mathematical expression. This 2000 and this will be loaded as a 1000. Ideally, these two supposed to aggregate as a 3000 here, but you're because of this operator conflicts, it is getting added as a negative value, and that is where causing a variances. So these variances, see, my Oracle side balance is coming properly, but after getting the balances into OneStream, you have some mapping issues. You have some mapping issues that is causing to variances. So that we can verify it using this mappings option. First of all, what you need to do, you need to go to the validation page and right click on each record. Suppose this, assume that this is a record that is getting variances. So drill down and right click on the source intersections, choose the validation transformation rules, and that will tell us, assume that this is my accounts. Right now it is one-on-one mapping. That's where we used a star dot star, which means your source account, target account are same. Okay, or else for quickly what I will do is I'll just change the mappings. Give me a minute. So what mappings it is being used? The mapping type is March to ACC accounts. Okay, I'll go to this March to ACC accounts. Okay, so one-on-one, I think not here. Wait, let me go to the different workflow. March. I'll tell you what is this console March later. Okay, I'll take a different workflow now. So this is also same, import validate, but only 3 stages we kept it. But whereas in the other workflow we kept it 5 stages. We can choose our own approach, whether you want only 3 stages of the data loads or 5 stages of the data loads. We'll talk about it later. So now let's assume this is my record. Okay, and click on this drill down. You see here how many source entries have been mapped to this one. These many records have been converted and added to this record. So individually also you can see mappings, what mappings have been used. So you see here now. So project we are loading into PJ100 and then loading into local data department. Sorry, this is a data type dimension. So dimension header you can see in the first column. Product is P000, department D000. So likewise account, same account we are mapping it. So you can see all of them here. You can see all of them here. Individually we can get to know and then load the data here. Okay, so that is the mappings. Let me change some of the other accounts mappings also. Let's say ACCIN and then IN accounts. These are the mappings that are being maintained. Okay, I'll change some of the account. Let's say this is account called let's go to the data once again, source data. Since it is a dummy, we can do whatever we want. Okay, right now 18000, I'll map it somewhere here. Okay, 18001 are also there. Let's look at this one. Okay, 118000. And also remember here we can also filter using the column headers. There's a filter buttons, so you can go to the accounts, put a filter. That filters also can be put in multiple ways. Like if you don't know the exact names, if you know exact names, then put is equals to and then search 118000. If you don't know, I only know like the beginning letter, like starts with 118, you can put it like this, and you can put like ends with and then put like a 000. Okay, so you will get multiple because all of them are ending with 000, or multiple conditions like and there's one more and condition. So if I want to search two accounts at a time, so let's say ends with starts with the 118, and or I want to have one more like starts with um, 114 something. I have one. I'll put otherwise. Double one. Yeah, there are few. Okay, so you will get a multiple conditions. You can use and symbol, or symbol. And means both, or means one of them. Okay, so likewise you will get it. If I want to clear the filter, then the clear filter option is there, so all will be displayed again. So here, let's look at that 118. So this one, let's right click, drill down. You see here account numbers. Look at the account column. 118 000 001 002 003. All these four accounts have been mapped into target is 118 000. So with what mappings this record has been converted, you can get to know here. You see one-on-one mappings. You can see the mapping type also one-on-one, which means one source and one target. There are mapping types are there. You will explore later, and then that will be converted. You see here your source is 118 002, but your target is going into 118 000. Okay. So likewise, we will be able to analyze your issues if there are any mapping related. Any questions so far? I'll give it a minute here. Yeah, somebody was raising hand before.
Hi, Guna Sandeep here. So I have a couple of questions. The first one is on the aggregation side. So I believe it will be based on the um, dimensional structure, right? So
Exactly.
based on
Exactly.
how we define the aggregation
Yes.
operators.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
There is no concept
Sorry,
of
I missed.
operators here, like
Mhm.
Hyperion, but however, based on the hierarchy structure. So let's say I have taken example of a entity total. So we don't have operator structure. Like OneStream follows almost like a HFM structure in Hyperion, not a planning and S-based structure. Okay. So we'll talk about anyways detail when we are creating a
Mhm.
dimensions. But here, so let's say I load the data here in the Bangalore, but when we aggregate, it'll go to India, and then from India to APAC to total. Like this, it'll aggregate based on the hierarchy.
Or can so sorry to interrupt you. Can we do the custom aggregations as well?
Yes, yes, yes,
Can we write the rules?
yes, yes.
Okay, that's good. I believe we will cover them later on. The uh, the other one. So can see. So right now, what we are doing in this screens is manually we are clicking the buttons, right? So we are manually clicking on import, and then we are clicking on validate, load, and then completed. So is there a way that
Not
because
yet.
if some user has to do this job every day, right, during month end close, so some businesses run their month end close for 3 4 days or 5 days, right? They have that window. So is it possible that we can automate this, or we
Yes,
can just schedule the job and it will run automatically?
yes.
Okay,
We can do that.
so
We can do that.
okay, so we have that option within the one stream of scheduling, or we have to integrate it within external tools.
Not required. Not required. You need to just write some business rule, and then through the data management, we can automate it.
Okay, and we can schedule that.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, the last one from me. So I don't want to take much time. So the last one is on these mapping rules you have shown us, right?
Yeah.
And we have and you have shown us we have multiple workflows. Um, so can I use the same rule in multiple workflows, or do I have to create
You
an
can use it
individual
as long as the
workflow?
mappings are same. You can use it.
Okay, okay.
You don't have to create
Um,
like a time will be common across all the workflows. Suppose our scenario
mhm.
will be common across all the workflows. Maybe entities differ. Maybe chart of accounts may be differ, right? But entities like some of the common like products will be common. So all common dimensions we can use the same mappings across all workflows. Yes.
And for each dimension to have to No, I have to see that how we create that mapping, because I'm trying to relate it with Hyperion. So I think we'll come to
That's what
that
we'll
later
conclude
on.
later. Yeah, we'll come to that later because see, if I show you everything today, we cannot sufficient the 1 hour session or 1.5 hour session.
Yeah. So it's okay. Thank you. That's all for now
Yeah,
from me.
somebody else was also raising their hand, unmuted. Yes. Any questions?
Konda, Prakash here. Can you also load data at the parent level?
Technically, no, but we can.
Okay.
So we have an option called parent inputs, so we can do that.
Okay.
But in,
Thanks.
in general, data always will be loaded for the base members, not to the parents. Okay.
Got it.
So Kona, if you're able to load the data at parent level, then when will the aggregation will run, then that data will be overwritten, right? Or is there any option to retain that data?
No, it'll override.
It will overwrite. Then there is no point of loading at parent level, basically, right?
You can maintain as alternative. Let's say, so when I say data load, it is not like something you are directly loading from the children's perspective, right? So sometimes, let's say, um, I have India Bangalore, okay, which is under the entity local hierarchy, as well as I have
Yeah.
India Bangalore under the management hierarchy. Okay, I want to target this adjustment. Let's say I want to make some adjustment, but that adjustments have to be limited to a specific parent. I can do that. So kind of a parent adjustments. Adjustment is also kind of a data input only. That we can do.
Okay. So do we have a concept of shared member here, or the unique member
Everything will be
names?
same. So if you are comparing with your Hyperion, yes, everything will be same except some additional functionalities. Almost 60% Hyperion functionality will cover here. You're sharing
Okay.
everything. This is a sharing member only, right? So Bangalore initially is at a primary hierarchy, but it is there in the US alternative hierarchy as well as the management hierarchy. It is there.
Or can we just achieve it by because in Hyperion there is a functionality on the I think it was on versions, right? So we have bottom up and target versions.
Hmm.
So if you set your version as target, then you are able to load the data at the parent level. So basically input,
Hmm.
and then you can on the when you write a rule. So basically, you set your ag missing off. So if you do that, then it will not aggregate the data for that particular intersection. So
Yeah.
do we have same kind of functionality in one stream as well, or
No, it is like based on the hierarchy. So if you have as see, we don't have to have like aggregation purpose. Technically, we don't need to write any business rule. It aggregates. But suppose let's say I don't want to aggregate this Bangalore data into MAPAC, but I still have to load the data here. I can do that by parent specific. I can restrict it.
okay? Yeah, and I hope you'll cover the dimensionals in details later on as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, we thought of starting
Thank
today, but since it is only 1 day, and if I start now, you will forget everything in Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So that's where let's start on Monday onwards, the dimension creation.
Okay.
Hi,
Thank you.
Konda.
Yes.
Will you please take me to any workflow so that I want to ask some questions?
Mm-hmm. This is the workflow only. Right now we are. Yes.
Okay. So, for example, here take any one account.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Um, like, yeah. For example, I can see the data from the ERP end, but the data didn't map I didn't find any data in OneStream. What's that mean? Like, is that mapping error or data didn't load it from source to target? That's what I can assume from here.
If I don't have a mapping, suppose what will happen?
Mm-hmm.
Let's assume that this record does not have a map. Every account must have a mapping in OneStream. Every account. There must be a
Yeah.
target mapping for it. If it does
Yeah,
not
so every account I can see some amounts. For example, 118002. From here I can see zero amount. What it could be.
where is it zero? It's 11K here.
For example, if it is
Okay.
zero,
Zero
like
entries will not be loaded into
from
OneStream.
source data I can see value. From in I mean like in OneStream I didn't see any value. It's just zero, or there is just null value. What kind of issue it could be?
So this is your source intersection. This is not a OneStream record. This is a source record. So first you need to check, do you have any value for that in the source tab? Source tab is nothing but your import tab. So OneStream is under validation tab. So if that
Yeah, my
record does
question
not
is
have,
here like,
let's say you need to, let's say I don't find 118002. Nothing. If I don't have it, so which means that record is going in some other location.
sorry,
Can you please put a mute? Some disturbances are coming.
sorry.
Yeah, anyway, I'll give you time. If you have any cross question, you can ask. So what I'm saying is, see 118002 you're not finding in the OneStream tab. I mean target tab, right? A validation tab, which means that somewhere that record has been migrated. I mean somewhere that record has been loaded. So you need to understand that. So where can you find that? That you can find it in the mapping section. You can go here, search with the mappings 118002 filter. Give me a minute. It is coming from the different mapping types. What mapping it is being used? Give me a minute. Drill down. One to one. Okay, March mappings. We are at the wrong mapping right now. This one. If you go March to ACC accounts, you can get to know what mappings are also using it for the conversion. In this one only, if you right click individual record, so here this is my target, this is my source, and if you want to verify transformation, so ACC underscore IN underscore March underscore console accounts. Okay, so we are looking at the wrong one, so this we wanted to verify it. Okay, ACC IN rule group is important. So ACC IN March con accounts. If I go to mappings, ACC IN March this one. Okay, March this one con accounts. Here, if you search that account called 18200 1810002, 18100. The account same. What is that account? 118, not 18. Okay, 118. Let's go to the mappings again. Put a mapping 118002. Here is the entry. Okay, so where it is going? So you need to troubleshoot in such a way. If the account does not have a data 118002 in our target systems, but however my validation tab is success, which means that, as I told you, every entry will definitely go into some other location, some other account. If that is not the case, let's say if it does not get converted in my source side, 118002 is not getting converted into OneStream format, then your validation tab itself will fail. It will show a red color here. Somebody unmuted. Please put a mute.
Cream.
Okay. So if this account does not get converted properly, so this validation tab will itself fail it. It will not succeed into a green color. Okay. If it turned as a green color means somewhere this record has been loaded. That somewhere, how can I find it? You can find it from the transformation mappings itself. Okay. So here you will get to know where it has been mapped. So you can clear and then look with the target value here. and put a 118,000. How many accounts are getting loaded to 118,000? This is my target. Target means OneStream account. These are my source accounts. Source accounts are nothing but your ERP accounts. All these accounts like 000, 1, 2, 3, you're mapping everything into one single account in OneStream side. So this format you will get to know and fix that errors. Let's say I mapped it, but still I am not getting the data. So here my value is a 10k, 11k, but for some reason let's assume that I am getting the data into OneStream as 1118,002 only. Okay, but still my data is not displaying it accurately. Okay, so that you will get to know from the mappings itself. What all accounts are getting added to 118002 in the transformation mappings. So here you need to search with 118002. Maybe some other accounts are contributing to this. Let's say 11k here is a positive number. Let's say one more account is getting added to 118002 with a negative 11k account. So positive and negative amounts will get nullified. So that you need to troubleshoot. How do I find out is there any accounts are getting added? Go to the validation tab and right click on this, let's say 118002, identify what all accounts are getting added here, what all values are getting added here from the source, and then you will understand why the amount is getting nullified here. It shows it exactly. If say this is my target, OneStream said the balance is 0. So if you drill down, you will get to know what all source accounts are getting added. So as I said just now, let's say one account is one positive 11k and another account is negative 11k. Both will be nullified, but your total will be at the OneStream set 0 only. But still, I have a value set at source side. But when it comes to OneStream, and my balance will be 0.
Okay. So how can we? What kind of error is this one? Just mapping error.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Okay, let's put it this way. Like, for example, if I see balancing account from the source data, it is like minus 4.0. I mean, like it's a very like paisa. I mean, like very small amount. Same thing. Even it is small amount, also we can say same thing, right?
Everything,
The
whether
rule
it
applicable
be
to any big value,
the
small
bigger
value
number,
doesn't
be it a
matter.
smaller number, doesn't matter. Okay, because we are not the owners of the data. The ERP systems are the owners of the data. However, sometimes your mapping issues could lead to the variances that you need to figure out using this transformation tab on the drill down options. Simple. Whatever the number is,
Okay, so we have to go like each and every account like this, and we have to.
you will not get every account as a variances. Maximum one or three or four, right? If I have hundreds of accounts, all 100 is the variances, then what is the data accuracy which Oracle is maintaining it? They'll have their own primary checks at the data level, right? They'll also prepare the trial balance. If the trial balance is not matching at Oracle, why will they close the period first of all? See, we will take the data after closing the ERP period. Remember always. So what is the current month, calendar month? October. But what is the reporting period in any OneStream tools or any Hyperion tool? September only. OneStream data, I mean October data will come into reporting tools from November 1 onwards, because we are not maintaining transactional data directly to load it into OneStream. We are taking from the other tools. When I say taking from the other tools, let's say we are loading from SAP. First, SAP should close their period, then only that data will be accurate data. Then we will load it into OneStream. Okay, even after loading into OneStream, maybe some one or two accounts here and there due to mapping issues or due to mapping conflicts, you will get an errors, but not like every account. Yeah,
Yeah, got it. Thanks.
if we get every account, you can say to the work simply, you can drop an email, hey, I am getting everything is off, please check your balances, simple, to the Oracle team or SAP team. That's what I do.
Okay, if we didn't find any amount in OneStream, we can't say like, hey, hi, OneStream doesn't have the balance account. Hey, hi, OneStream doesn't have this account. We can say only mapping error or something it could be.
Not
But we can't say like one stream don't have the value or don't load the value.
not like that. See, if
Yeah,
the
yeah,
one
got.
stream does not have a balance, you cannot simply go and says to the Oracle team, right, directly. You cannot say
Mm-hmm.
that. What you need to understand, what you need to troubleshoot first, you need to verify, you need to spend some time, try to
Mm-hmm.
understand for what reason the balance is not there. Is it coming from the ERP first? Okay. If it is coming from the ERP, you will have it in the import tab. But still I have a balance in import, but I am not getting that in the one stream. That means that probably you may be ignoring that record. We can have a bypass mappings, we can bypass certain accounts also, remember, to loading into one stream. While loading it, let's say I don't want to load for certain accounts, I can bypass it. So you need to understand that by spending into the time on the mapping section, try to understand them, what causing for that record is missing in one stream, then you report it back to the Oracle team or SAP.
So what is actually bypass means, and how could it affect the data or loadings or mappings?
You want to create right now everything? Wait for some time.
No, I just curious to ask
I
this
told
question.
one of the
Whenever the
mapping
topic comes, you
type.
can.
When I say mapping type, we can create certain accounts. Let's say I want to bypass certain accounts, suppose. Okay. Suppose I don't want to load this account. Okay. 111001. I can have a bypass mapping for it. There's a bypass. That entry will be all the data coming from 111001 will not get loaded into one stream.
So basically, it will ignore this one, right? When
Yes.
you'll
Yes.
Yeah,
load the
skip
data.
skip the account. Okay.
That you need to understand. Okay. In the mapping section only, everything will be there. That mappings we call
So
it as a transformation rules. Okay, remember.
Yeah, makes sense. Thanks.
Okay, so we all discussed today about the user perspective. Okay, remember these are all actually user issues. But however, let's say if a user is getting a variance, he will not troubleshoot all these mapping issues. He will not troubleshoot all the drill down issues. They will not understand all these part. Okay, some users may be smart enough, but not every users. What we need to help them, so they will simply raise an incident. Hey, I am getting an off variance in the particular account. So in that case, you need to apply all these techniques, how to identify variances, way to identify, way to check what causes for it. Everything, it's our job to help them to clear the variance. Simple. Okay, that is all the issues that we discussed today. Okay, hope you are aware of this. Hope you are clear on this discussion. We didn't discuss any topic, but as a user, what users will do in OneStream, we saw it today. It is actually not our content topic in our OneStream training, but still we discuss because people are asking many things around it.
Yeah, thanks.
So Konna, just quick question. So, is it possible that I can integrate OneStream with third-party tool for my
Any tool which
metadata
is in a
flow or
relational
data?
format, any tool which is in a relational format, we can integrate it.
No, no, no. Okay, so that's like my transactional systems. I'm talking about the ETL tools,
Downs.
let's say ODI.
Okay.
So can I integrate ODI with OneStream with ODI basically to my to do my metadata or data loads or whatever you say to update my cubes or applications.
So you are integrating as a downstream system or upstream system.
So basically, it's an upstream system from ODI to
Once
my OneStream.
no direct integration. Let's say if
Or other way around, vice versa as well. If I, let's say, from one stream, if I have to push to data where one stream doesn't have a direct connectivity, it doesn't have a direct adapter, so can I use ODI to extract the data from one stream and push data back to my, let's say, transactional system, SAP or some other system?
see, I cannot comment if ODI can communicate with one stream. That has to come from the ODI side. Okay, because as long as I am maintaining the data, and if ODIs requires OneStream data, that is their job to integrate with OneStream. If they don't have it, probably there are some,
No, no, but ODI is an ETL tool, Kunda, right?
agree.
So it's part of the uh, uh, you know um, it's the role of solution architect or the developer to know whether using ODI can I extract the data or load the data into OneStream. It's not only data, metadata, or can I do any operations using ODI within OneStream? So is that possible or not? That's my question.
No,
It's okay.
actually, ODI is only compatible, if I am not wrong, with Oracle tools only right now.
No, no, no. Oh, it has an
With other tools,
what do we say? Open interface, so it can connect to multiple products, not only Oracle.
yeah, if that is the case, yes, OneStream also will integrate. Because
Um,
I don't have idea about ODI basically, but what I am saying is,
mhm.
see, if it connects to open interface and if it connects to any other tools, yes, it can also connect with OneStream as well. And it pulls whatever
Okay.
you want, whether you want to pull the metadata, whether you want to pull the data, it's up to you then.
Mhm.
But
So then how?
let's say
Sorry.
if I want to use the ODI as the upstream system, suppose, okay, not a downstream system. So the other case what we discussed is the downstream. If I want to use it as a upstream system, then direct integration is not possible with OneStream. Then I need to use some APIs, okay, which is a custom
Hmm.
integration that we need to form it.
Yes. So
Clear?
okay. So yeah, that's fine. Um,
Any other questions, guys? Likewise, see, we have just only seen the import of the data, right? So if I go to now the workflow, and we have just only talked about one activity, but we do have a few more other activities as well there. Let's say after loading the data, I need to do the financial statements. I will check my income statement, I'll check my balance sheet. So as long as my data is ties, what I'll do and finish my every activity. Okay. So when I say activity, let's say I have seen my data which is accurate now, then I'll go and complete my form, and then green tick will come for the IS form, then BS form. So assume I'm just going blindly, okay? So after that I can complete my entire workflow. So then certify my entire forms workflow itself. So now my green tick came for the forms, financial statements. Likewise, individually, every activity. This is like kind of activity that we are performing in every month or every periodic. So every activity must be completed like this with a green tick, and then once all these activities are finished, then I'll go under finish my period. Okay, so once the period is finished, then I'll certify. Okay, since the activities are not completed, it is not enabling, there's a dependency always. So once all my activities are done, I can complete this period. Once my period is completed, then I can lock the entire period like this. Okay.